Buckle up, everyone, because today we're taking a deep dive into the Xiaomi SU7 Ultra, a prototype electric supercar that's been generating serious buzz online.
It's a car that's packed with so much advanced tech and performance, it almost feels like something out of science fiction, so we're going to break down what makes this car so unique, especially focusing on all the incredible features.
And what's really interesting is that it's coming from Xiaomi, a company most people know for their phones and electronics, right? It's a pretty bold move for them, and they are definitely not holding anything back.
Yeah, no kidding.
So let's get right to it. Let's start with the thing everyone's talking about, the power.
Yeah.
This thing has a tri-motor all-wheel drive system, with two of those motors being Xiaomi's own V8's supermotors.
Right.
And then a third V6's motor. Now, I know those sound like they could be engine names, but these are electric motors built for absolutely insane performance.
Yeah, and altogether they produce a mind-blowing 1,548 PS, which translates to 1,525 horsepower. To put that in perspective, that's more power than a lot of the supercars that are already out there.
That is crazy. So how does all that power actually translate when you're behind the wheel?
Well, hold on tight because this thing can go from 0 to 100 kilometers in just 1.97 seconds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's hard to even imagine. Just picture being pushed back in your seat as this car launches you to highway speeds in the blink of an eye.
It's got to feel like a rocket taking off.
Yeah.
And the top speed.
Oh, that's where it gets even wilder. The SU7 Ultra can hit a top speed over 350 kilometers, which makes it one of, if not the fastest four-door cars in existence.
It's insane. So how do they actually achieve that level of performance? I mean, what's the secret sauce?
Well, a big part of it is actually the lightweight design. The entire body of the SU7 Ultra is made from carbon fiber.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so carbon fiber is something you usually only see in really high-end race cars and supercars because it's incredibly strong but also incredibly lightweight, and this helps keep the SU7 Ultra's weight down to around 1,900 kilograms.
Which, okay, that makes sense for the acceleration, but what about handling at those speeds? I mean, does the lightweight design help with that too?
Absolutely. The lighter the car is, the more nimble and responsive it becomes.
Makes sense.
So it can just zip around corners with incredible precision. And then on top of that, you've got the aerodynamics.
Now, I'm no aerodynamicist, but even I can tell just by looking at it, this car is designed to just slice through the air.
You're exactly right. The SU7 Ultra has been meticulously designed to minimize drag and maximize downforce, basically gluing it to the road even when it's going at those incredibly high speeds. And you can really see that in the fixed rear wing.
Yeah, that thing is not just for looks, is it?
Definitely not. That wing adds a whopping 735 kilograms of downforce at speed. That's like having a grand piano pushing down on the car, keeping it stable as it races.
Whoa, that's wild. So we've got this incredibly powerful electric powertrain, the lightweight design, the aerodynamics that would make a spaceship jealous. What about the battery, though? What kind of battery powers all of this?
Well, the battery is where things get really interesting. It uses a high-power battery pack that was co-developed with CATL, a leading battery manufacturer. This battery has a peak voltage of 897 V and a discharge capability of 1,330 kilowatts.
Okay, I have to admit, those numbers sound impressive, but I don't really know what they mean for someone behind the wheel. Can you explain?
Sure, those numbers mean that you get sustained, powerful performance even under the most extreme conditions. What's really impressive is the 897 V peak voltage. That's higher than most EVs out there right now, and it allows for faster charging and potentially better efficiency overall.
So it's not just about having a ton of power, it's about using it efficiently too.
Exactly. And that high discharge capability makes sure the car can deliver its full performance lap after lap, even in a really demanding race.
Which brings us to demanding races. The SU7 Ultra recently took on one of the most legendary and challenging tracks in the world, the Nürburgring Nordschleife.
The Nürburgring, yeah, if you're a performance car, this is where you go to really prove yourself.
Yeah.
It's a grueling track that pushes cars to their absolute limits.
And the SU7 Ultra crushed it, finishing with a lap time of 6.46.874, which, to put that into perspective, that's one of the fastest times ever for an EV on that track. I mean, it's right up there with some of the best cars ever made.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that lap time really solidified the SU7 Ultra as a force to be reckoned with in the high-performance EV world. It showed that electric cars can not only keep up with, but can actually beat some of the most established gas-powered supercars, especially on a track as challenging as the Nürburgring.
It's a pretty incredible achievement. But here's the thing that I find so interesting. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's get back to the SU7 Ultra. You mentioned earlier that it uses Xiaomi's own electric motors. What's so special about these motors? I mean, how do they stack up against what other EV companies are using?
Well, the really interesting thing is that Xiaomi decided to use these names for the motors, V8s and V6s. These aren't actually V8 or V6 engines, but using those names. Using those names suggests that they're trying to connect with people who are used to gas-powered cars.
Yeah, like they're saying, hey, we may be electric, but we can still give you that same raw power and excitement you're used to.
Exactly. And the fact that they're actually developing their own electric motors really shows how committed they are to innovation and doing things their own way. They're not just buying parts from other companies, they're creating their own core technology, which gives them more control over the performance.
That's impressive. It shows they're in it to win it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit and talk about something I've been thinking about, the SU7 Ultra's design. It's so sleek and aerodynamic.
Yeah.
What are some of the design features that really scream performance car?
Well, aside from that big fixed rear wing we talked about, it has a really wide body stance, which not only makes it look more aggressive and visually striking, but also helps with stability, especially at those high speeds.
Yeah, you can definitely see that. The wide body gives it a real presence, like it's ready to pounce.
And
Whatever.
then there's the active rear diffuser, which is a really cool feature.
Active rear diffuser. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
So basically, it's this movable aerodynamic element at the back of the car that can adjust its angle depending on how fast you're going and the driving conditions.
Okay.
This helps it fine-tune the airflow under the car to increase downforce and reduce drag so it handles even better and stays glued to the road.
So it's like the car is constantly adapting and optimizing its own performance in real time. That's pretty amazing. Okay, we've covered the powertrain, the lightweight construction, the aerodynamics, but what about the inside of the car? Is there anything notable in terms of interior features or tech?
That's where things get a bit more mysterious. Xiaomi hasn't really revealed many details about the interior tech yet. But knowing them and their track record with electronics and smart devices, I'm sure it's going to be packed with some really advanced features.
I'm imagining a really futuristic, driver-focused cockpit with a high-res digital instrument cluster, a top-of-the-line infotainment system, maybe even augmented reality features on the heads-up display.
All of that is definitely possible, and knowing Xiaomi, they'll probably find a way to seamlessly integrate their smart home ecosystem into the car.
Oh, wow.
So you might be able to control things in your house right from the driver's seat.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
It's exciting to think about what they might come up with. But let's step back for a second and think about what all this means for the average person who might be dreaming of owning an electric supercar someday. Okay, so let's do a quick recap of what we've learned about the Xiaomi SU7 Ultra so far. We're talking about a car with mind-blowing power and acceleration, an ultra-lightweight carbon fiber body, aerodynamics that are out of this world, and a battery that can handle all of that on the track.
And let's not forget that incredible Nürburgring lap time.
Yeah.
That really puts the SU7 Ultra in a league of its own as one of the fastest EVs ever around that legendary track.
And all of this is coming from a company that's relatively new to the car industry.
Which raises the question, how did a tech company like Xiaomi, known for phones and electronics, manage to create something like this? What does it mean that they're now entering the high-performance car market?
It's a really interesting question. We've seen other tech companies try to get into the car business, but Xiaomi seems to be going all in with this bold statement. What do you think is behind this trend?
Well, I think it's a combination of factors. The auto industry is going through a huge transformation right now with the rise of electric vehicles.
Right.
This is creating a lot of opportunities for new players to come in and shake things up.
Yeah, it's like a whole new playing field, and everyone wants to be a part of it.
Exactly. And tech companies like Xiaomi, they bring their own set of skills to the table.